has sprung. September is here, as is finals footy. Nat Edwards, Josh Gabelich and Chad Wingard with you on the round ahead. Thanks to Coles. Gents, it's great to be back.
It is great to have you back, Nat. You are the voice of September, so it makes sense that you are here for the month that matters most.
I've missed you guys, but a big shout out to Sarah Ollie, who's done a fantastic job in the hosting chair for the last couple of months. Now, we have a massive show coming your way. It is final, so we've brought in the big guns. Bombers champion Matthew Lloyd is going to join us a little bit later on to delve a little deeper into week one of the finals. But before we get to that, Joshua, I believe a congratulations is in order because you won the Grant Hatton Award last week for your feature on Tom Liberatore.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You know, I like covering these stories, so very nice. And I loved speaking to Tom Liberatore. And as you remember, he did let me come to a homework club with him in Braybrook, and we did cover the story of him spending time at Port Phillip Prison last year. So he's got an amazing story and love telling those stories.
You are absolutely fantastic at what you do, the best in the business. But let's get into what matters at the moment, and that is week one of the finals. And this is how it's shaping up. The minor premiers Adelaide hosting the Pies to kick off the finals series. The Claws will be out at the MCG on Friday night as the Cats and Lions face off. Then it's an elimination final double on Saturday. The Giants and Hawks, followed by Freo and the Suns. The Suns, of course, making their finals debut. We are in for a cracking final series. The road to that last day in September looks like this. 8 teams, of course, down to 1. Who will be premiers in 2025? It's all going to take shape over the next few weeks. But let's get into it. It is Thursday night footy. Thanks to Coles and the Adelaide Crows. Well, they're back in finals for the first time since that power stance in 2017. Dare I mention it? And Josh, when it comes to hosting a home final, it's a massive advantage.
It certainly is, especially this weekend, Nat, because for the first time since the McIntyre Final 8 system was introduced in 1994, we have 4 finals in 4 different states involving clubs from different states. Now, let's have a look at these numbers, because across the first 3 weeks of September in the last 30 years, the winning rate is 70%. But on this weekend in qualifying finals, it's as high as it gets, just under 75%. Ooh. But don't forget what happened this time last year. Geelong went to South Australia. They got the job done convincingly against Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. And Friday night will hold no fears for Brisbane, because they came here in a prelim and upset Geelong. So it's just a number to keep a focus on, but home ground advantage is real in September.
Well, as we know, the Crows will be without one of their stars in Isaac Rankin. And Josh, we did think that perhaps it was Josh Rachele that might return to this side from a knee injury, but it seems that's not the case.
No, we can put a line through Josh Rachele this week, Nat, because they've been planning for this for the best part of a month. Week 2 of the finals was the best outcome for Josh Rachele since he went down in round 16 with that knee capsule issue. Ideally for them, though, they go through to a prelim and that gives them an extra week to get him right. So no Josh Rachele, no Isaac Rankin, but we will see Max Michael-Annie for the first time since round 20. He's good to go coming off that hamstring.
Well, that's really good news for them. But Isaac Rankin, that's a massive void to fill, isn't it? He's that X factor.
He is. He's that X factor. And speaking of X factor, it brings us to our Wingards winners this week. In Jordan De Goey, he's an unbelievable player. And you think about the form that he's been in when he's in the finals. You see here his player ratings. 18.4, he's the 3rd best player in player ratings since 2021 in Finals Series. And what I love about him, he's actually in some great form. So last game he had 26 disposals, 1 goal, 8 score involvements, and I'm not sure the Crows or many teams have an answer for him when it matters. So Mr. September, can he get it done again? He is going to be a difference maker. So can Crows slow him down, or can he have it won and just turn it on?
Well, Chad, we only have the numbers down at 2021 there because his role has clearly shifted over the last few years. That's based on him playing predominantly as a mid. But you go back to that 2018 Finals Series when he absolutely arrived, kicked 12 goals in those 4 games, kicked 4 in a prelim, kicked 3 in a grand final against West Coast to really get Collingwood going. And some of his bigger ones, I reckon, have been in prelims. He had 34 touches against GWS in 2023. He had a massive qualifying final in 2022 against Geelong. So he is primed, Nat, for a huge September after an injury-affected year, and not just this year, but last year as well when he only played the 13 games.
And there was a little scare on Tuesday at training. He went off the track, but we believe he's good to go. Speaking of injuries and some selection issues, I guess, for the Pies, Jeremy Howe still a couple of weeks away with that groin issue, but Beau McCreery is back, which is great. What are they doing, though, when you're looking to fill the hole left behind by Jeremy Howe, who's so crucial to that backline?
Well, Nat, I think they're going to rejig their backline and bring in Will Parker. He's only played the 3 games this year. He's only played 8 games total, but he did play not that that long ago. He's been in really good form at VFL level. So I think that'll mean Braden Maynard plays taller, plays on one of those big threes, maybe a Taylor Walker, Darcy Fogarty type. Mason Cox is the one. I think he's going to come in and replace Dan McStay in this team. Dan McStay's been dealing with a bit of a shoulder injury over the last couple of months, but really hasn't had much of an impact in the last 6 to 8 weeks. Mason Cox has only played 8 games this year, but you look at his finals record over the duration. He has stood up in some big finals, unforgettable against Richmond in a prelim, massive against West Coast in an elimination final over there. So expect him to come in. But Bo McCreary's the big one, especially with no Bobby Hill again.
Well, Adelaide's Mark Keane has had a sensational season to date, and he is the focus of our player portrait this week, Josh.
Different style player portrait to start September, Nat. Now, the SSP is the list mechanism that launched the career of Nick Martin and gave Mason Wood a second chance. But Mark Keane is mounting a case to be considered the most impactful summer signing yet. It all started in the space of 10 days at the start of 2023 when life changed dramatically for Mark Keane. Before the Irishman runs out in his first final tomorrow night against his old side, it's worth walking through the timeline that led to Adelaide adding a crucial puzzle piece. Now, it started when Fisher Mackesy, the 2019 pick 6, announced his decision to retire at the age of 21 on January 9. Mark Keane was living in Cork in the south of Ireland. He read the news on the AFL app and decided to message Adelaide list boss Justin Reid out of the blue. That was January 10. The Crows were in the market for a key defender, but they didn't expect one to come knocking from the other side of the world. Reid got to work with his right-hand man, recruiting boss Hamish Ogilvie. They sat down for a Zoom on the 11th of January, then went to the list management committee the next day after Matthew Nicks spoke to the Irishman on Zoom. They wanted to know why Keane didn't come back to Collingwood in 2022, despite having a year to run on his contract. Now, a medical was then arranged on the 13th. That was completed by the 15th, along with a visa. After nearly 18 months playing hurling and playing Gaelic football in Ireland, Keane was prepared to come out for a 2-week trial. Adelaide was only prepared to sign him from Ireland for the year. So by the time Justin Reid was driving down to Blairgowrie on Friday the 20th of January for a weekend down the beach, the paperwork had been lodged with the AFL. Mark Keane had signed a contract for the 2023 season. Tomorrow night, the key defender plays his 50th game for the Crows and his first since being included in the 2025 All-Australian squad. All great list builds need an element of luck. It hasn't been lost on the Crows that they've enjoyed the luck of the Irish.
Thanks, Josh. And as Josh Irish jigs his way back over to the desk, I am very much looking forward to seeing what Mark Keane and the Adelaide Crows can produce this finals series. And of course, you can catch the Coles goal on Thursday night's broadcast for an exclusive Coles app offer. So make sure you tune in for that. But to Friday night now, a qualifying final at the MCG between Geelong and Brisbane awaits us, and a couple of very handy ins, Joshua.
Certainly, Natalie. Massive when it comes to a dual Brownlow medalist in Lachie Neale. He's been given the green light to return. Missed the final 3 games of the home and away season with a quad strain, so hasn't played for a month, but has done a lot of training across the last fortnight. So lock him in. And you can lock in Jared Berry as well. He dislocated his shoulder back in round 23. Didn't play the final game of the home and away season, but he is good to go. So 2 massive inclusions. I wonder what it means for Sam Marshall. He's had a great little block at the back end of the year, especially in the last fortnight. He might be one of the unlucky ones to be squeezed out of that team.
Now, Chad, one Lion that the Cats will need to be wary of is, of course, their co-captain in Harris Andrews. He had 11 intercept possessions in round 15 when these two sides last met. The Geelong forwards are going to have to be really accountable. How do they do that?
Well, I think, one, Shannon Neal was improved dramatically, and that's Harris Andrews' assignment at that time, and he was really dictating him. So he was in a better position. Obviously, I think he's improved dramatically. So it's a little bit on Shannon Neal, but it's not going to shock them this time. They're obviously going to prepare for this the last 2 weeks. They obviously know what to expect. And I think they're going to have a game plan, whether it's just a single player, it's going to be a whole team outfit to try and stop him, because he's obviously so important for them.
Speaking of in-form defenders, Darcy Wilmot was sublime against the Hawks in round 24. His coach, Chris Fagan, described him after the game as the ultimate goldfish. Clearly, nothing worries him at all. And, well, going on the way he behaves post-match, well, see, he's got plenty of tricks in that little kit bag of his, including the old wet willy.
I think we were pretty inaccurate again in the third, but anyway, We won by what? 11 points, and we had 11 more shots. I thought we played great tonight, actually.
What a Darcy Wilmot. Have a look at him.
He always does that.
He keeps putting his finger in your ear.
He does that every time.
Have a look at him.
You're going to give him a clip?
Don't you dare.
Oh, you've got an earpiece in. I couldn't do it. You knew I was going to try and do something like that. Would you ever be bold enough, Chad, to wet willy one of your coaches?
It's amazing how close the connection between the coach. We've seen Naz on Ross Lyon's shoulders. We've seen a wet willy. What's next? What's
That's
Sam
next
Mitchell?
level.
That's next level. That is next level.
And he's under 21.
Just the way that he just nonchalant about it. It's like, yep, on TV, didn't matter. It's unbelievable.
But apparently Chris Fagan's done it back to him at like photo days as well. There was a great piece written on afl.com.au by our colleague Michael Whiting, so make sure you read that. But on a serious note, Josh, like Wilmot is one of the most underrated Lions going around. He's played 78 consecutive games since he debuted in that 2022 elimination final against Richmond. He's had an ultra consistent year.
I was there that night. It was a bold choice. What a place to debut in a cutthroat final at the Gabba. And it's been an inspired choice because he has become crucial to what they do out of the back half. But he's part of this young core that really is setting them up for future success. When you think about the Ashcroft brothers, we've been mesmerised by Logan Morris this year. Jasper Fletcher is in that, Sam Marshall as well. But Darcy Wilmot is almost the pick of them.
Now, when it comes to finals preparation, Geelong and Brisbane have had very different build-up. So on the one hand, the Cats haven't actually beaten a top 8 side since round 13, while the Lions have beaten 3 in the last 5 weeks alone. Chad, which runway would you rather? Because is there a concern around the softer, I guess, lead-in that the Cats have had?
Well, Josh, as we know, Brisbane Lions' draw last year was pretty tough going to the grand final, and it suited them. They prepared them for that moment and they dominated. But if you go back to Geelong and when they won the flag, how was their runway as well?
Yeah, it's a good point you make. I mean,
depends which way you look at it, right?
I know. Geelong are winning and winning's great form. Sydney won in last year and we all saw what happened then. So I'll be going in with Brisbane's road to September because I think they're battle-hardened.
And also won 3 of those 4 against top 8 sides. So the fact that they're battle-tested against tough opponents, but they're actually winning them as well. So I much prefer to be Brisbane at this point in time.
Well, we know that finals footy shows us where the big players are. They stand up during September, and Bailey Smith is one of those players who thrives on the big stage. And Josh, when it comes to finals, he becomes Mr. September.
He certainly does. We go back to that 2021 Finals Series, and it is iconic. This is when he really did announce himself as a box office star. Now, he's only played one final since then, back in 2022, and he arrives this September as one of the best players in the competition, clearly been the recruit of the year. But it's worth just backing over what he did in this final series because he started with 20-1 against Essendon. Then he got going in that famous game at the Gabba right there. 27-3 goals, a prelim, 23-4 goals, and then he had 26 disposals in that grand final loss to Melbourne at Optus Stadium. It was a September to remember.
It was, and you talked about X factors too with Jordan De Goey, but he is one with those flowing locks there.
Oh, on field, off field, he's the X factor, aura all over. So I can't wait to see him. Obviously, a big year he's had, and obviously coming off the injury and the challenges that he's had. Obviously, Mr. September, can he get back to it? We hope so.
Well, speaking of players that shine on the big stage, our top 5 this week has plenty of those featuring. So let's take a look at our top 5 moments from week 1 of the finals. Josh, you're going to kick us off.
This is unforgettable, Nat. The last final that was played at GMHBA Stadium back in 2013. Ross Lyon and the Dockers went and took down Geelong at home. Quite incredible. Who can forget what Ross Lyon said post-game around Shane McInnes? You're quite brilliant, Shane. It's iconic. What a game.
And talk about iconic. Mickey O here in the later stages of the game to put Sydney in front, and this part here, this photo. Oh, I can see it everywhere. Just the emotion. Talk about sellies. This is up there with one of the best. So amazing for Sydney. What a day, what a man, what a moment.
And this rivalry between those two sides was absolutely brilliant. Now, this was one of the best days I have been at the football. It was Marvel Stadium, 2007 elimination final. The Hawks and the Crows. Buddy Franklin just keeping the Hawks in touch. He kicked 3 last quarter goals. Of course, the final goal came in the last 8 seconds of the match to put Hawthorn in front for just the second time that day. I lost my mind and went berserk. And this one...
Hang on
a second.
How did this get in here? This wasn't on the rundown, was it? Josh?
It's quite incredible, isn't it? I mean, in a final.
Imagine running onto that ground. brilliant.
What a
And
day
being
to
Imagine being the
surrounded-
man that kicked the goal and getting celebrated here.
And he was only 22 years of age, Matthew Lloyd, at this point in his career.
But he didn't do it once, he did it twice, Nat. Back-to-back years. Quite incredible to think of. So I wonder if Jeremy Cameron can get there and give us one of those moments this September.
I would love that. But look at Lloydy's face as he's trying to get off there. That's a bit scary. And, of course, number one, Chad, you can talk us through this.
Yes, well, Shuey getting the call that should have been called. Obviously, after the siren, kicking
his
a
head
shot.
off.
I mean, the clutch gene by him to have this set shot. It was about 45, 50 metres out. I was on the side of the boundary. I didn't even want to look. I faced away because I knew it was going to go through. And, geez, that was a game. So thanks again. It's the second time it's come up, so appreciate you bringing that up.
Extra time. 8 years on, and you're still salty about it.
Always.
Okay, well, as I mentioned, it is finals footy, of course, and we brought in the big guns. Matthew Lloyd is here for Lloydy's Lens. Lloydy, welcome to you, and I believe that you told our producer we had to put you in the top 5.
Oh, I thought I was stiff not to be one, though. I'm a bit flat about that.
Were you scared when everyone was running on? Because I think when you let off that second clip, you looked a little bit frightened.
Well, the first year in 2000, they said this is how it's going to happen. It was just chaos. And honestly, if you fell over, like you thought you would be crushed.
Yeah.
Whereas the second year, they handled it a lot better. Got off nice and easy, but I did feel like a bit of a rock star going off and coming back.
It's
on.
iconic.
It was good.
Of course
wasn't it?
you did. All right, well, deep dive into the finals for us.
Nat, I'm going to look at why I think each team will win a final. So I'm going to start with the Adelaide Crows. I think they beat Collingwood, and it's for the reason that they're big three. They kicked 5 of the 9 goals the last time they played. So I just think you touched on matchups. So Billy Frampton, Maynard, these types, they're going to have their work cut out, really. Like, how do you stop that? So you've got Fogarty, you've got Tex Walker, who was too big in situations late in that game against Darcy Moore. And then you've got Thilthorpe. I think he's an All-Australian. He's one of the more powerful players in the game. And again, as games wear on in finals, the ball is kicked longer. It's more of a contested game. And I think that's where the Adelaide Crows are going to go on and win that first final.
And Tex too, game 300. It's a massive milestone. He's going to be up and about, isn't he?
He is going to be up and about. So I think, they can expose the Collingwood defence in the first final. The second final, well, I think Brisbane have the best list in the game. And that's where I think they can beat Geelong. You asked about the matchups. I like Brisbane's run-in, and whenever the game is stepped up or they're challenged or they've lost one the week before, they just crank it up. So let's take a look at the Brisbane guys that I absolutely love, and that's Bailey, Rayner, McCluggage, these types. They're just so explosive. So you've got Bailey and you've got Rayner there and you've got McCluggage, and I just think Sydney in this time, I know they won the game, but most teams just can't go with them. So really I'm interested to see how guys like Zach Guthrie go in this game, and those Buse or whoever gets them, those O'Connor types. I think there's just so many of them. Even Fletcher's been added to the mix. Charlie Cameron. They've just got so many of the same type, Josh, that it's hard to cope with.
We saw Cam Rayner explode last September, Lloydy. How much is he going to benefit from that? Because it just felt like a weight was lifted off his shoulder that he's carried since having that number 1 tag.
You're spot on. The experience of what they got through it, and I don't think any of them worry about it. They love the big moment. They love the big stage, and there's so many of them. If one's down, someone else will get you.
The Hawks and the Giants is next. That's what Chad and I are looking forward to.
big
What do you got
gentle
for
here.
us?
Big
Yeah,
gentle.
so just on that, so I like Brisbane. I like the Hawks in this one. Despite the record, I do like Hawthorn. I think they come in better form. I'm far more convinced by Hawthorn. So both teams play pretty similar. They're very dynamic off half-back. So when you take a look at it, Hawthorn explosive. Battle's been a massive in. So it was a great game at the Gabba. They didn't lose any respect from me. I know they've lost to the Adelaide Crows in Adelaide and Brisbane at the Gabba, but they played so well in both of them. So you see this. I love the chaos nature. So the Wizard Watson, McDonald, Ginnivan, they all just push up. Dylan Moore, they get up so high and they just like they're off to the races, and it really challenges you, and it made Brisbane panic. So this clip, because it comes in so fast, free kick to Mitch Lewis. But then on the flip side of that, the Giants are just as good. So it's going to be about who can do as much damage off halfback. But why I'm going for Hawthorn, I like Battle, Barras, Sicily, the form they're in, that they can cope better in defence than maybe the Giants' defence is, with Buckley maybe not playing or underdone.
Okay, well, you can come back next week now that you've tipped Hawthorn. And the final game that you're going to take a look at, of course.
Yeah, and I love what Fremantle did. And I've been slow to the party in respecting Fremantle. I thought they'd miss out. I thought the Western Bulldogs would beat them. But that was one of the games of the season. It felt like a final to me with the way it was played. And I just thought it was their toughness. So this ball's in dispute. It's a big ball up, but they willed themselves. They were tougher than the Western Bulldogs. So we'll let this one play out. They just won more top contests in tight, and then they were so slick. So I think That's what finals is built upon. Can you be tougher? Can you win more one-on-one contests? Can you win more moments than the opposition? And they won more moments than the Western Bulldogs. So they've already played a final. They stood up so well. I just don't think the Gold Coast Suns are going to be able to cope with what Fremantle serve up in front of 60,000 screaming fans off the stadium. I don't think they lack for too much. And yes, they've got Rowell, they've got Anderson. But if you stop Ben King, I don't think the Gold Coast Suns can kick a winning score.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a hostile environment for the Suns. So you're tipping Freo, Hawthorn, Brisbane and Geelong. Who's your tip?
Brisbane.
And the first one,
and
Adelaide.
Crows,
okay,
yes.
all right. We'll note that down.
Yes.
We'll keep our receipts for next week. Lloydy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So Lloydy mentioned there Hawthorn and, of course, the Giants going head-to-head at NG Stadium. And that record that he mentioned too, Josh, that they have never won at that venue. Are we both concerned? What's going on?
Well, I'll defer to you, Chad. Are you concerned as a Hawthorn person? No wins from 8 games. Now, they haven't all been against GWS. Some of them were during the pandemic, of course. Any area of concern?
I'm not concerned. I think Hawthorn's a brand new team. They played, obviously, GWS down in Tassie. But NG Stadium, like you mentioned, the percentage, nearly 75% win rate. I just feel like Hawthorn, the experience that they gathered last year in that final series, they really took it up to Port Adelaide over there. And I think that's an even more hostile environment. They almost won that game. So I feel like they're in a better position and obviously I think they played GWS well. And I think obviously Lloydy mentioned, I feel like up forward, if they can get that dynamic right with the tall forwards, I feel like they're going to really challenge them.
And the Hawks could have a huge inclusion in Josh Weddle. We haven't seen him since round 16 with that back injury, but Josh, he played 50% game time in the VFL at the weekend for Box Hill. Is he going to come in? What's your mail?
I believe he's going to come in, Nat. They haven't made a decision just yet on whether that is as the sub or in the 22, but he just needed to get through this game. He played 45 minutes on Saturday, had 12 disposals, did enough. I mean, you go back to the days after round 16, they thought Josh Weddle's season was over. I mean, when you find a stress fracture in someone's back at the age of 21, there are fears for months. So for him to be back in contention at this time of the year is a massive, massive in for them. But it's going to be some stiff ones that come out of that team because they've been going really well.
Yeah, they have. What kind of boost does Weddle provide them with?
Well, I don't think you play him in the VFL if you don't intend to play him this week. I think he's so important for him. The reason why I love him is that you can play him on the wing, and the mix that Hawthorn have with CJ on the wing, you've got obviously Jarmanimpi, Carl Amon, they don't have to put him in the back line. He can play up forward, he can play anywhere they feel fit. And I feel like he might be playing a bit more on the wing to add a bit more speed and to maybe keep him out of a little bit more contests. But he's going to be super vital for him. I suggest, obviously it's an elimination final, got to play your best.
Sub or no sub?
I think play him. I think you've got to play him.
Is it not a risk?
Everyone's a risk. And you've got to risk it at this time of the year if you want to try and get the chocolates.
Oh, I like that. That's a little grab that we can pull out later. Now, the Giants, though, might have up to 5 changes for this do-or-die final. I'll get to you in just a moment. But, Chad, how many changes are too many?
I don't think there's... when it's your best 22, I think you worry a little bit more if you're losing your best players. But you've got to put your best 22. I don't think there's a number of changes that is concerning for me because they've played a lot of games throughout the whole season. It's not like you're introducing players that have played their first game. That's probably the biggest issue for me. So play your best side and you're obviously playing at home. I don't think as many changes is concerning for me.
So Brent Daniel's probably not coming back in, but Jake Stringer and Jesse Hogan look likely. And you spoke to Stringer a little while ago.
I did, Nat. I spoke to him on Friday night when he was driving home from the footy club. I've been wanting to talk to him for some time now. He's been through quite a bit this year with his body, 3 hamstring strains, but he has loved getting out of the Melbourne footy bubble and playing off Broadway after 12 years in Melbourne, playing his footy at the Western Bulldogs and Essendon. And in the last month since he's been injured, he's actually sort of embedded in the AFLW program, mentoring the forwards there. So he's having an impact on field, off field. They're absolutely thrilled with him. But I think coming towards September, Chad, we've discussed impact players across the most of this show so far. Does he? Can he still do it? Can he still have a big impact when it matters most?
I think he can. I mean, the trouble is he's probably going to get battle, right? So someone who's kept a lot of players to not many goals this year. So can he make an impact? That battle, the battle is impressive. But he's one of the players that you do have to watch out about. Whether he has 5 disposals or 10, he could kick 2 or 3 goals.
Now, the Hawks have had a secret weapon sitting on their bench all year. Chad, I'm keen to get your insights in just a moment. But Josh, just to give our viewers some background, tell us about the former Olympian that's been making an impact in the brown and gold.
Well, if you are a close close consumer of Hawthorn games, you would have noticed this woman sitting on the bench. Her name is Jenny Screen. She is the head of leadership, player development manager at the Hawthorn Football Club. She's been in a couple of different roles across the last 18 months. Incredibly highly rated internally. She's got a great playing resume of her own. She played for the Opals at Commonwealth Games level. She won a gold medal. She was a silver medalist in Beijing. She won a bronze medal in London. But Chad, talk us through what sort of impact she's having, because she's massive in the mindfulness space. We see a lot of clubs tap into this, but I've noticed her quite a lot in the last 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's mindfulness, but it's also her experience. So someone that's coming outside of the sport and her leadership skills. We were in a moment at Hawthorn where we lost a lot of our leaders and senior players, and she came in to not just help the players, I suppose, flatten the leadership or become better leaders themselves, but also the coaches, because there's a relatively new coaching staff as well. So she's helped on all aspects, and the reason why I think that she's on the bench is she's a very calm head, and she's got quotes for days. So I think when players are coming off the bench, she's obviously giving them, similar to like a Luke Bruce, just calming them down so they can absorb the messages from the coach so that they can go out there and perform their best. But she's got so much experience in big moments, and she's huge for them. So
helps you move on from mistakes as well.
Exactly right. So it's the mindfulness, staying in the moment, and obviously when you come to the bench, that's when you need to reset, and she's probably the best at it.
Well, she is doing a brilliant job at Hawthorn at the moment. To Saturday night now at Optus Stadium. It is Fremantle and the Gold Coast Suns going head-to-head, and the battle in the middle is what I'm most intrigued about. These two talented midfields going head-to-head. And Chad, who's going to win this battle?
What a star-studded lineup, isn't it? It's unbelievable. I think there's two stories in this. I think there's the battle and there's the war. I think the midfield battle between these two teams is going to be won by Gold Coast. I think the war, meaning the game, is going to be won by Fremantle. I think you look at the clearance differentials, is Gold Coast the second in the competition with 4.2 positives average. And then you've got Fremantle who's 7th. So obviously a fair bit of split there. You see scores from stoppages as well. Gold Coast Suns, they're third in the competition, getting a difference of 10.6 points per game, and Fremantle only just getting over the equal with 0.8 points per game, which is 8th in the competition. So it's a massive source for Gold Coast Suns in terms of getting their game style going. You know they're contested. We know the two superstars in there, the two best players, duo in the competition in terms of all the votes, as you can see there. Matt Rao, he's unbelievable this year, Josh, and like you said, he could be a bolter for the Brownlow as well. But no hating on Fremantle. They're in some great form as well. So being home, I feel like Fremantle just got the edge there.
Love that Matt Rao was named All-Australian, because he went into Wednesday night's game last week without a spot on a flight to Melbourne. He got that confirmation late on Wednesday night. He flew back with the Bombers on Thursday morning. He sat next to Zach Merritt on the flight, and he got himself into a blazer by Thursday night. Very worthy first-time All-Australian.
Amazing. Now, we know that the Gold Coast Suns coach in Damien Hardwick loves a theme when it comes to inspiring and motivating his players, Josh. So what's he running with at the moment?
Well, I've been covering this across the year now, and so has Michael Whiting for AFL.com.au, and he's had a big theme across the year on Detroit, the city and the teams in that town. But in round 24, he went with something a little bit different. An OKC Thunder theme. Be where your feet are. This is about being present in the moment. Now, we know they went all the way this year and became champions for just the second time in their NBA history. But it did originate back in 2023 when LeBron came to town they had the scoring record, and it became a big focus on staying present. Let's have a listen to Jalen Williams at a press conference articulating exactly what this mantra means, because I do believe that Damien Hardwick has used this internally.
The idea behind it for that was there's going to be so much going on in the arena during like Bron's moment that you kind of have to like be where your feet are. Like you have to lock in and stay present in the moment. It just kind of became like a little like team mantra.
Be where your feet are. I absolutely love that. And because they're going to be in that hostile environment, Josh, then this is going to ring so true. They need to be present and focused on the moment, because it is a huge occasion for them. They're playing their first ever final. And then you put on top of that the fact that an inaugural son in David Swallow announced his retirement during the week. Thank goodness he is going to play, but this is someone that they want to celebrate, and they want to win a final for him.
Forget Josh Weddle, Nat. This has been the selection discussion of the week, heading into the first week of the finals. You won't meet a better person in footy than David Swallow. He's absolutely adored in Queensland and across the competition. 247 games he's played 7 this year, 4 times as the sub. He was really running out of opportunities to come back into this team. He's been dealing with a PCL injury, but Damien Hardwick confirmed late last night that he is in So what it does mean is that his title as the most games without playing a final is about to end on Saturday night. Robbie Flower has the record for 269 games. He then played a final, but Dave Swallow, game 248. He's going to end the streak. Romance isn't dead, Nat, in September.
It is not. And with that, that is enough from us here at The Round Ahead. Thanks to Coles. We cannot wait for finals footy. It's all coming your way. Make sure you stay tuned to afl.com.au and the AFL Live app. We'll see you next Wednesday.